to session 13 here. The return to Lurid Pines. We hired henches. We were able to get 6 henches at double pay for the job. We hired Ina, the town guard, 3 great folk, Katyusha, the Yellowlander, and Umberto, the overconfident Greenlander who insists that he's the best, and so far has proven himself pretty much to be the best. So we went back to the vault. We started trying to head in there while the great folk were carrying the biomancy gear to the trucks. A bunch of the zombies were in the cave. We pulled them into the door and let the Gatling guns take care of them. And, well, then we ran into the cannibal hamsters. Why is this a sentence that makes sense in this game? So at that point, that's when Hamish ran in and started melee with the hamsters and inadvertently killed one of the porters. The porters managed to get 2 crates out. We fought the hamsters, got kind of jacked up, fell back to the vault entrance, let the Gatling guns deal with them. The Gatling guns killed one of the hamsters. The other 2 injured the hamsters. Our hirelings hit the hamsters. One fell and looked dead. The other one tried to jump into a mess of sessile ferns, but because Nida had worked with them and tamed them and gotten them to be friendly, she was able to yell at them to move, and the ferns got out of the way. Hamish threw a grenade, killed the final hamster. We threw grenades into the tunnel with the heat wave to take out the heat wave. We managed to get that stopped before we disrupted the tunnel's integrity. We found a gigantic diesel engine down one shaft that powers the facility, and down the other tunnel is an autofac facility, like Johnny Seven's production floor. We negotiated with the cybernetic prairie dogs to get access to the autofac by giving them fuel, fueled the diesel engine, and we were at the mainframe putting Johnny 7 into the autofac and waiting to see what happens. And, well, that's where he left off, except for Hamish acquiring a power from the hamsters. He gained hamster reflexes, so he always acts first. And we acquired 3 sickles and 3 necklaces of hamster ears.
Yeah, that was actually pretty much what happened last time. So now we have to decide what happened. Azure connected Cataract with the control panel. Cataract is holding the crystal snail in its mouth, and it's pulsating with this blue light. And now the information that was stored on the crystal is transferred to the AI, to the artifact. We have to assume that you know, somewhere on the hard drive is the old personality of the artifact, but it didn't boot as you started the computer. As you started the computer, it booted from the crystal snail. But we want to find out what the new person that emerges from the crystal snail, who that is. And we talked a little bit about it and decided to do another auction, which is a battle of the personalities between Saffron and Johnny 7, who were both stored on the crystal snail, together with memories of a third person. And so what we do is we take a D6. You roll the D6 in secret. I do that as well. All right. We add it to our wisdom score. And you have a new wisdom score, a new number. And what we do is we take turns in bidding. And what we bid is, so for example, if I say 2, then what I promise is that I will roll between a 2 and my new score. And then I can explain like what Johnny 7 said or did in order to you know, push his personality forward. And then you bid, you could say 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever, and what you're saying is you will roll between a 5 and your new wisdom score. And then you would have to narrate, you know, why you will best Johnny 7, and then I can go higher Or I could say, now you roll. And in that case, whoever has the highest bid without the other one going higher would have to roll and make the roll. And if you fail, then if the person who rolls fails, then the other one succeeds. If it's just two auctioneers.
Okay.
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 And there's like one special rule is you can always bid one. I think that is when you have several people. So with two people, it doesn't really matter. So, so I think to set the scene, what do you think? How does it? What if this is a television series? How would the fact that the battle somehow either plays out in the crystal snail or in the process of being transferred, how does it manifest on screen?
I mean, I think we see it from Saffron's perspective, or at least initially from Saffron's perspective of the, like, when you feel that, like, if you think of like the scene where someone like comes back from drowning or something, and they'll do that like first gasp of air, but it's Saffron having the first breath of air of consciousness inside the autofac network. And it's this really weird and disconcerting feeling to have been like, just like, you know, not like an instant ago was feeling like I was dying, and now and maybe this is like, you know, stylized as like we see Saffron's old body, but like covered in that brainy mechanical goop of like neurons and stuff that we saw inside Johnny 7.
Ah, cool.
Just like covering and like all of their face.
And I think to make my first bit, the goo, this kind of network of like strains and sinews, like coalesces into like a humanoid shape. And you hear the friendly voice of Johnny 7 saying, I'm afraid I cannot allow you to do this. And so my first bit is 3.
Okay. I think Saffron just the realization of what has happened kind of starts kicking in. And I think Saffron just says, I don't need your permission.
Cool.
That will be let's call that a bid 5.
So I bid a 6, and what Johnny is saying is, but I am the creator. I can create all these things. I know that you don't need my permission, but I want my freedom.
You don't. You don't get to take over everything just because of what happened. Doesn't mean you need to go away. But we're separate. I'm me. You're you. And I think Saffron just like focuses their attention really straight on like, who am I?
Mhm.
What is happening here? And just like tries to shut out the voice of Johnny Seven.
Mhm.
Um,
But you did promise him that he doesn't have to go away completely. I think that was the argument.
yeah.
So
And so
what
like
do you-
I'm telling you this. I will like these like the argument to Johnny Seven is like these are two separate things. So like
Mhm.
you having some existence is a separate thing from me getting out of this.
Yeah. So the last bid was a 6. What do you bid?
Yeah. I'm gonna bid a 7 on that.
It's getting more and more difficult to win this, and I have to think if he makes a counter bid. Nah, I think you won the argument.
Okay.
Now, so and we established beforehand that if you lose, it would be the new character would be a hybrid between Johnny Seven and Saffron, and if you win, Saffron is definitely the dominant personality, and there's some lingering trait of Johnny Seven.
Yeah. All right. Well,
so now you roll a d20,
yeah.
and you want to roll between a 7 and your new score. By the way, what did you roll?
I rolled a 3 on my secret die, which puts my adjusted score at 18, which means I have a slightly better than 50-50.
Yeah, I rolled a 6 on my charisma score of 12. So I thought,
Okay. So we were on equal footing.
On equal footing.
But yeah, it was basically if you had bid up, then it would have been like we were on either end of 50-50 split.
Yeah. So the advantage is that now you roll first, and you have slightly higher than 50-50.
Yeah. All right. Let's roll this over here. That's a 15.
And a 15 is
within.
You made it. All right. So we are in this control room. There's obviously cataract. It's connected to the consoles with the green and white monitors that just flickered on. Everything is covered in moss and lichen. There's like this front window of it was probably also a motile auto factory. But the windows, they are, covered in, algae or something. And so, and there's cameras. So Saffron, you see the control room from different angles. the cameras, and you can communicate. You do see Azure and Nida. There's a third person who wears some kind of fantasy uniform. It's like a, I don't know, like a major dome. What is it called? Like somebody in a marching band or something with a saber. And you can communicate. You have like a microphone. So what's the first thing Seven says?
I'm sorry.
I think Saffron just like clears their throat, which is a weird notion, but you know, habits of being used to having a body. That was a very strange experience that I am not sure how. Naida, Azure, and
Hey,
what?
how you doing?
Okay, I
What?
think.
Saffron, is that you?
More or less.
We've got your kite.
I saved it for you.
Great.
So, what's been up?
Nothing. That's the weird part.
Is Johnny Seven there with you?
Kind of.
Because
Kind of.
I look kind of bewildered over at Azure, and I thought we were plugging Johnny Seven in, and instead we get Saffron out.
I mean,
I'm not complaining.
as dark as you are on this one. I thought the same thing. I thought Saffron was dead. Sorry, Saffron.
as much as I can remember, that's a pretty fair assumption.
Well, your body was dragged back into the collapsing autofact by the spiders. So,
yep, spiders. I'll be pretty happy if I never have to see those again.
well, the good news is the autofact collapsed. So, pretty sure you won't have to.
I mean, yeah, okay.
So,
those exact
where's
spiders.
Johnny?
Johnny's around, but
Can we download him into this machine or no?
that's a good question that I am not sure how to answer. He was here
Fair
more
enough.
a bit ago. Like, how?
I mean, Azure could.
What day is it?
That's a really good question.
So I think 3 weeks.
It's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've been basically shuttling between here and the Behemoth Shell because of all the really great stuff down here.
What is here?
We're at a vault outside the Behemoth Shell.
Okay. Okay.
It's a place called Lurid Pines. Not that I don't know if that means anything to you or
No.
not, but
No.
Does Behemoth Shell mean anything to you?
Yeah, I remember the map.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's, we're
Okay.
basically shuttling between, well, there and here, because there's A few things have happened since you've been gone. Got a little bit richer. Got
Good.
more vehicles, got more guns, got more equipment. Wait till we get your top side. You're gonna, yeah. It's we've been busy.
Sounds like it. Oh yeah, yeah. It's just for perspective. No time has passed.
Okay.
Basically, that's reductive, but
it's only been a few weeks real time, so
it could be worse. You're right.
Yeah.
You say get me top side, but as best I can tell, I'm inside another autofac.
Yeah, that's true. But this is an autofac that apparently has the capability to manufacture bodies, limbs, etc.
Okay.
So you, at least in theory, can build yourself a new body using the stuff here. And I kind of gesture around at like the various legs and arms and parts and.
Well, all the arms and parts and so forth are prairie dogs parts. So you won't
come back as a prairie dog.
Well, so last time in the so you also have cameras in other parts of the artifact, so you can switch around. You can also search the your hard drive. Like you have complete control over the artifact.
Okay.
The energy level is dangerously low, though. You can see on the like if you go through the hard drives and the programs. If you look at the cameras, you can see in the production floor there are these body parts of uplifted cyber prairie dogs, and they do have like in your hard drive you can see different program points. You have laser eyes, you have extra brain, so that there's actually on one of the tables there's this prairie dog head with like a globe, a transparent globe, and 2 brains inside. You have like extendable limbs, and then you have the normal limbless, headless body, and you can put these things together.
It's a pretty sweet deal. I mean, you have to be a prairie dog, but it's a sweet deal.
I mean, ironically, your quest initially was to find a body for your mother, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But that's another problem.
That is another problem.
Should we be sending Umberto back up to the top to get supplies so he can fuel up the autofac?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that something we can just declare, or do we need to roll for it?
No. Yeah, Umberto is your henchman.
And I figured because we'd cleared the path that it was probably okay-ish.
Yeah, I will just because it's a dungeon. I will roll once in a while for a random encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so Umberto leaves. What do you do?
Tell us what you need, Saffron.
I think I want to dig through the archival storage, the hard drives of like details on how this works.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's like any manufacturing blueprints for related pieces or the like how do I manufacture the goop that would let us connect things together, and how do we hook it up so that I can transfer out into one of these bodies or whatever.
So you want to have like a blueprint of
what this process would be like.
Yeah, like a fully functional cyber prairie dog.
So do we still have Ver Wilkes with us or not?
I want to say no.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hide that on the character sheet. So that's got us just down to Saffron, Nida, and Azure. I'm wondering, do the prairie dogs know anything? I mean, I know they're kind of surly and disagreeable, but we have agreed to help them. You know, we've got somebody going upstairs right now to get fuel, so we're following through on our end of the bargain.
Yeah.
Do the prairie dogs know anything that could help us? And if so, is this a role?
I mean, do you go? The prairie dogs, they are on the production floor. They have these small. They dug somehow the small tunnels into the walls. You would have to go there and, you know, try to establish some kind of. You need to talk to them through Ajax, probably. You would assume that they don't seem to be like super savvy.
So they're not uplifted. Or at least not that uplifted.
Yeah, they are uplifted enough to have a consciousness. And there was at least one that also had two brains. I mean, you can always try.
You know, I might as well see if I can have Ajax reach out.
So let's make. I mean, you have complete control over the artifacts, so also over the hard drives. So what you find out, Saffron, is that the old artifact was called 11 Eves and is still, stored somewhere. There is one routine that has been added, in the long ago, probably, that is the plans to build these prairie dogs, and you're pretty confident that if you run the program, there will be you can manufacture one, and it's also customizable, so you can use the parts to build one in any fashion you want, with 4 extendable limbs, laser eyes, and the extra brain.
It'll be a bit of a change of pace to be a prairie dog, but
you can
promising.
You can also try to search the hard drive for any kind of information about other bodies. You don't think that without hacking, at least, and without having some kind of it's not a 3D printer. You would have to have the parts itself to be assembled. But all the old artifacts, they are around for thousands of years. So maybe you can find something about a more suitable body somewhere else.
I mean, I think as Saffron is sitting in this thing, in this autofac, I do think about that, like, okay, what else, what other knowledge or details about, like, it's like, oh, okay, we can produce bodies, kind of, from parts. Wanting to find more, like, general details about this, or the whys and the hows of it. If there's like a manual from thousands of years ago about this process, that would be totally something that Saffron would be looking for, from the perspective of, okay, if I get out of this and into something that's functional.
Oh,
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was thinking, if you don't want to try to, Saffron, if you don't want to try get stuck in one of these prairie dog bodies, is there a way to access some other blueprints and, you know, make something else sentient? Like maybe with that brain hack, like, you know, I don't know, laser gun, something like that. You know what I mean? Like
applying it to a different host form,
right.
basically.
Not necessarily prairie dog, because that would be kind of a weird thing.
I mean, but in a sense, Saffron isn't super weirded out by the thought of like, oh, okay, like it's a new body. Like I think amongst the machine humans, and including Saffron, there's a certain understanding that the body is this constructed, it's this ancient thing, but it's this constructed thing.
Separation between physicality and consciousness type thing.
Yeah, I think before this, to Saffron, it was almost more like a religious or philosophical point of like, yeah, this body was just constructed long ago, but it's just this physical form. There's nothing that inherently special about it. But until actually having this happen, I don't know if Saffron fully internalized the fact that it was like, oh yeah, okay, I can actually transfer from one thing to another thing. This is not something that is widely considered to be possible.
I mean, this is kind of
machine people.
This is the execution of your faith and practice.
Yeah.
Like, so this is almost something of a religious experience or miracle for you?
Or like, there is a certain value, I think, to accepting, being like, okay, there is this form available to me. One, don't be picky. And two,
very Protestant.
Two, it's like, if this is a pretty good deal, and that we can pull this off is amazing.
I mean, another thing I was thinking about to add on to it is if you are in a body that is the size of one of these uplifted prairie dogs, that could be a tactical advantage. It might give you stealth bonuses. You've got all these cybernetic stuff you can use.
Exactly.
I mean, like you can build all the stuff in that you want. You can customize your own body. Oh my God, how cool is that? I wish I could do that.
Yeah. I mean,
also, there is another tactical advantage is, I know you're not a prairie dog. Nida knows you're not a prairie dog. You know you're not a prairie dog. They don't know you're not a prairie dog. You could be like prairie dog Jesus and take over the whole crew.
Holy crap, I had not even thought about that.
Well, I don't know if that's necessarily Saffron's end goal here, but
and I would like to point out that depending on what our lines and veils are, and I haven't looked at the list for a second, that might kind of run afoul of something like slavery, colonization, if we have any lines or veils along those lines.
Not if you convert them, like, and I don't mean like in a colonial way. I mean like, you know, hey guys, I'm one of you. And then they go, wow, this one's really smart. Let's follow this one. And then we've got an invincible prairie dog army that can roll with us because they're tough motherfuckers.
I'm just saying that gets a little skeevy to me. That's a little manipulative.
I would just say that Saffron is not considering this.
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
The one thing that I would say is that it would be awesome if you could broker a lasting peace or alliance between the prairie dogs of Lurid Pines and the residents of Behemoth Shell, so that, there's, the prairie dogs understand that they are part of a community now, and they can engage in trade for food or for whatever, as well as mutual defense and protection.
We can see how that plays out once I'm inside of.
I mean, that's just my thing.
Dog.
You know me. I'm like,
Still think we should have a prairie dog army, but I'm cool with that. Whatever.
Listen, maybe you can get a couple of those cannibal hamsters built or modified for you or something.
I'm totally with Abe. I think prairie dog Jesus would be super cool, but I also understand that Saffron has other life goals.
I think Saffron's priorities here are find out, learn as much as possible about one, what they're about to do, to know what to expect, and two, so that they might be able to pull this off again in the future. Specifically for Mother.
Yeah.
But I think Saffron is like, okay, one, not in the right place to do this for Mother. I don't have the right preparation, and it's better if I return to a form where then in the future I can pull this off.
Yeah.
And here I was thinking we were going to be doing that right now, because you have your mother's consciousness with you, correct?
Unclear.
Yeah, we haven't established that.
Is the actual name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the reasons why I wanted Umberto to go back upstairs and get more fuel, so that, one, we're fulfilling our part of the deal with the prairie dogs, and maybe that builds up some trust so that you can kind of negotiate or broker whatever. But also, I figured we'd be making 2 bodies, and one would be for you and one would be for your mother.
Yeah, what do you think? So I'm agnostic about this.
I think it's something Saffron could try. I think it's something. I'm trying to think how, whether it's me not knowing what this actually is, not having figured out who Mother is, etc., and then feeling like, oh no, I want to play more to figure that out, or if it's Saffron actually being scared to try without certainty.
I'm cool with either. I think we could just say that Mother is not with you, and we play a little bit to find out what Mother actually is. Is it a program somewhere stored? Is it like a big machine that can't move yet?
Yeah. But being able to, or if we produce a body, we can bring it with us.
Yeah, definitely.
Having a functional artificial cybernetic body or whatever that's extra and throw it in the back of the wagon would be totally fitting with kind of the goal here.
Got the room for it. How much do you think it'd take up? Like a sack? A person taking a sack?
Yeah, the prairie dog is not that big.
Yeah, if it's just a prairie dog, then it's not as much. But if it's
I'm just going to say, why only one? This happened once. We might want to have a couple of
sack of prairie dogs.
Yeah,
how many prairie dogs to a sack?
Yeah, I would rule that we had established the last time that there were a couple of limbs.
Yeah, we don't have a lot.
Not like you can't build an army. It's I would say two fully equipped.
Gotcha. That's
prairie
fair.
dogs is you have 4 extendable limbs. You have a pair of laser eyes, and you have 1 extra brain. So the other body would be like run-of-the-mill, normal, uplifted cyber prairie dog.
I
think that
gotta
sounds
say,
right.
I'm just thinking about what would happen if we plugged your mother into the autofac and it turned out that she started nagging you about why it took you so long to get her into a system where she could actually communicate again.
Maybe she's really, she's very compassionate and warm. We don't know that.
Maybe.
That's a D100 roll on the mother table.
Yeah, the
Yes.
critical fail is all she does is just nag and complain and
Exactly.
No. Yeah.
All right.
guess what kind of family I grew up in.
But I think the idea of being like, okay, well, make the most of what we have here. Because any like mostly functional artificial body is a giant step ahead of where Saffron was before. So
Okay, so I would say make like what role would that be? Intelligence probably, like to sift through the data bank.
to try to find like old manuals and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And then let's see, machine cockflower church doesn't really fit. I think so. It would be a normal role.
Yeah. So it's a stretch, but we'll see if. I think I just re-rolled and got a 15 again. So.
I think you didn't roll because room total is 15, so it looks as if you haven't rolled.
All right. Well, I'll just delete it and try again. That way I know it's fresh.
Yeah. It's another 15. Okay, interesting.
I'm gonna
Possible?
puff.
All right, so
Yeah.
I would say you don't get any kind of extra information, and it takes longer than you would hope. So you can definitely assemble a body. It will use up another sack of fuel, and I will make another random encounter roll. So Umberto returns, refuels the diesel engine. And I don't know, Nida, you wanted to go to see the prairie dogs, I think.
Well, so my thought about it was talking to them to see what else they could do or if they knew anything else about it. Now that Saffron has kind of combed through everything, that's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, that's true.
So we took another path to get to the stuff that I was hoping to get through Ajax. So, and a better one because you got answers from the system, not from a prairie dog. That's like, I don't know.
Saffron,
okay.
you can see everything. You can see everything in this base.
Everything inside the FAC, where there's a camera.
Okay, can you do me a favor?
Maybe.
You know all these weird glass things I've been collecting? Can you tell me if that's in the inventory or if you can see it in your cameras? I need them for something very important.
You're talking about the vial parts, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, I can already say that the answer for lying around is no, because we made the roll for the Lurid Pines for the whole location.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize that. Never mind.
That is okay.
In fiction, very good question to ask your friend who is now embodying this.
There is one question I do want to ask, though. Saffron, can you see, based on how I'm describing it, any more cannibal hamsters, any more of like the waterlogged zombies, anything that looks actively hostile?
I think this is probably I only can see within this thing.
Yeah, you have theoretically you have cameras pointing outwards, but they are all covered in rock and mud and you would have to clean the camera. But
I'm essentially picturing that the autofac got like buried deep in here long ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is going to be the most ridiculous question I ask today.
Mm-hmm.
Can I somehow go back to the sessile ferns and invite them to start cleaning off all the muck and mud from all the camera lenses?
I mean, you can definitely try. I just want to add to what Azure was asking. If the question is, can you look through your data bank to see if there's any kind of information about other location, that would be definitely possible. Just not for the Lurid Pines. So Nida is going to the first cave. What do we see? How do you try to convince the ferns?
Oh, I just sit down cross-legged, and the little, like, because you said that I'd made friends with one of the younger ones, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it comes over, and I'm just like gently petting its fronds and kind of pointing at the camera, and then maybe holding it up to the camera lens a little bit, and I'm kind of mimicking what I'm doing, and then I look at it and maybe see if I can get some of its, like, get it to tickle its ferns across it, that sort of thing. Like, I'm both demonstrating what I wanted to do and also trying to kind of gently move it to show how I want it to do it.
I think that is a charisma check.
Because my charisma is so fantastic.
Better than mine.
Let's see. Can I use Ajax on this as well, since Ajax is active?
I can't see how that would give you an advantage, though. Like they are befriended with you specifically.
Yeah, and communicating with them through Ajax doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm not sure that there's like quite enough going on with the ferns. Okay, that's fair. So D20, correct?
Mm-hmm. And then equal or under.
That's a 2.
Wow.
What the hell?
So that young fern is,
it's a very clever young fern.
It is, for starters, it's super clever. It's also pretty nimble, and it climbs up to the camera that we haven't seen before. It is above the tunnel that leads into the artifact. And it starts moving its ferns in front of the camera to wipe it clean. And because it was a success, it also,
And isn't it a critical success because it's under 4?
Now the critical success is if you roll your score exactly. Okay. If you roll a 9 in your case.
Okay.
But it will start looking for more cameras to clean.
And is it showing the other ferns how to do this as well?
Or
is it just this one sessile fern?
It is just this one. I think the others are. It is a young one, so it has no sway over the others, and it's probably the smartest in the whole bunch. In any case, Umberto returns, refuels the generator, and the factory starts assembling the parts. There's some kind of cranes or hooks that puts the limbs together. I'm not sure how what do you think, Saffron, how the limbs are connected with each other? Is it some kind of wielding? Is it some kind of goo?
I think it's this like series of little needle arms that come down. So there's like the robotic arm grabs the arm, another one is like holding the body in place. And they push it together, and these little needle arms come down and kind of clamp into the joint. And they inject the same kind of material, this like brain thread material, the same stuff that we saw Saffron covered in during the auction. And that's like, it is like muscle nerve glue, essentially, that like sews it together.
Yeah, and we don't know if that is the normal way or if Johnny Seven somehow plays a role in this.
Yeah, I think it's totally a like Saffron is coordinating this, but hasn't never done anything like this, and it's clearly there's something in like the back of Saffron's mind that is pushing this along.
Cool. And I don't know, Puckett, can you remove one of the sacks from the caravan?
Of course. Did you want to remove one sack or two, because we're making two bodies?
One will be going to me. One will be smaller than a sack, but roughly sackish.
But this is fuel supplies you're talking about, right, Horst?
Yeah, I was talking about fuel supplies. So yeah, I think two to have it running for, without worrying that you run out of fuel, and also maybe as a goodwill to the prairie dogs.
Well, and that was the other thing that I was going to say, is because we promised them, supplies and fuel for the, not really doing anything to us. So, shall we say 3 sacks of supplies? Is that fair?
That sounds totally fair for me.
Okay. So that'll get us what we need. It'll keep us in the good graces of the prairie dogs. We'll be upholding our end of the deal there, which may make it easier for Saffron to negotiate with like some sort of brokered interaction later.
And just getting out of here with these prairie dog bodies will be easier if they are ingratiated to us.
Yeah. Well, not even ingratiated. They're helping us out. For once, they're not stealing stuff from us.
So, Azure, what are you doing in the meantime? Do you stay in the artifact? Do you look around? Do you try to?
Yeah, I'm hanging out with Saffron because my survivor guilt is slowly leaving. So I'm going to hang out with Saffron and just, kind of keep an eye on things and, make sure everything's, copacetic.
Okay, running smooth. All right. So I think at the end of the day, let's say, the body is assembled. And now you would have to find a way to transfer the personality to the body. Also, I assume that you have like one super dog and one normal one.
Yep.
So just for the mechanical side of things, the laser eyes do a D8 damage. And the like the extendable legs, I don't know, they just give you some kind of fictional positioning that you can reach like higher stuff if you want to. And I think after the break we will, I don't know, do you think we need a roll to transfer the personality to the dog? Probably.
I think we've done it enough times, and we know the enough. I mean, this is not our first rodeo in terms of
That is
transferring consciousness.
Yeah, that is true.
One thing that I would like to ask, though,
Uh-huh.
you mentioned fictional positioning with extensible limbs, things like that.
Mhm.
Would it give Saffron any kind of unusual attacks, like being able to trip people or bind their legs or something along those lines, or restrain people? And if we're
Like a
talking about
Mr.
yeah, like very much Inspector Gadget type stuff.
Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, let's see how maybe we can
Think about that over the break.
yeah, find like a mechanical way to put it down on the character sheet.
Okay.
Let's see. We have 10 to half. Shall we say 10 minutes? Half past the hour?
Sure.
Cool.
Sounds good.
All right. Anyways, back to the Lurid Pines. So I think to wrap it all up, there must be a moment when Saffron leaves the womb of 11 Eves, the autophac, and enters a new body, an uplifted prairie dog. And how is that for you? Like, how's the first?
Can I put a vote in? I think this stuff is old technology. I think that there's like an opportunity for a fail. Sorry, but it's from a story perspective. It seems that it's just being bing. Okay, she's done. Might be, and I'm happy to be vetoed and voted down. It's all right, but I just thought I'd put that in there.
Yeah, cool. I'm. This is we run it as an open table in the sense that we all have our say. I think. I also I embrace randomness wherever I can.
Right. Well, it's more of a Saffron question. Like if it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with that. Okay, no problem.
Well, let me ask you this: what kind of interesting consequence could come about as a result of a failure? Like, because I mean, we've already gone through all of this. We've already gone through the bidding, et cetera. We've gotten the personalities sorted out. So
yeah, I think the failure wouldn't be it doesn't work. The failure would be there's like an awkward process of adjusting to the body. There's this a deer on an icy lake or something situation for some time.
More like how smooth does the process go?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, do you know how to work the extending legs without
exactly?
Do you Zord something with your laser eyes?
Yeah, you have to find that out anyways. But how smooth is the learning curve, or how
we just get the full
if you've got
comedic
art. If you've got the helmet on, how are you going to shoot your laser eyes? Because you're going to blow through your helmet.
Well,
unless you've got a visor thing going on.
Okay, so that'd be interesting for the sake of comic relief, but what would it do mechanically to make it interesting?
Another thing, just to get back to your question before the break.
About the extensible limbs, and does it add a different attack or something?
Yeah, if we go to the character keeper, let's see the PCs. And I will share this as well. Let's see, share screen. Where's my... Oh, that's not it. Where's my YTech character keeper? Here. You can see that there's machine human next to strength and constitution, but obviously that has to change to uplifted prairie dog. So where would you put these things?
I guess there's also the question of is it just not interesting to worry about the physical
No.
stats? Do we re-roll
No,
the physical stats? Do we?
No. We leave the physical stats as they are.
And then just adjust the groups.
Exactly. And I think that would be as well reflect the mechanical limbs. So if you put them, you put them to use when they're next to a certain stat.
Mm-hmm.
So
I guess the other piece maybe worth interrogating are my my rituals, but I can think about that some more.
Yeah, let's see.
Because mechanical flame and interface are both kind of built around my old body.
I would say mechanical flame, yes. Doodle, bugging, and interface. I mean, it's a cyber dog.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I think those two are fine, but I understand your point with mechanical flame.
Yeah. I mean, we can get around it somehow. One easy solution would be to just put the laser eyes where the mechanical flame was. Another
or like there's a way to. I figured out. Maybe there's a way to like overclock the laser eyes to do the same thing.
Okay, cool. That's I like
cool.
it.
Because the laser eyes themselves are just kind of
yeah.
Well, and also it still gives you the D8 laser eye attack.
Exactly.
But then overclocking it, that's cool. That's a really clever way to handle that.
Fire plasma or something that is coming out. Yeah, cool. Nice.
I'll just say overclock your laser eyes to bring forth the machine spirit's flame.
Nice.
Okay, this is starting to sound less like a RPG and more like a prog rock album.
I mean, it's the UBG. It all sounds like
pretty fitting.
Yeah. I mean, overclock your laser eyes to bring forth the mechanical flame. I mean, tell me that isn't a lyric that you can hear on a prog rock album or like a Mars Volta record or something.
It is. It definitely is.
Yeah. It seems that maybe at least one of the applications of the groups for the cybernetic prairie dog body will probably be that this applies to Dex.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll think about where the other one goes.
Yeah.
But
and then what advantage does the double brain get? Or does that give?
It's also just the fictional positioning, because a normal prairie dog brain would never fit like an intelligent as vast as Saffron's.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, hey, this can actually be a reasonable substitute.
I mean, I constructed the prairie dogs as monsters in mind. So there, the extra brain did attack value +2. So just giving a mechanical bonus, but that doesn't apply, I think, for Saffron. All right, cool. So just for shits and giggles, I think Azure would have to make the roll, because there's or is it? No. How does the transfer? Is it directly from the? Is it like going through the machine, through the auto factory to the prairie dog, or is it going through Cataract again?
I can see it either way. The going through Cataract is the way that we've
done it before.
Known how to do it. So maybe that implies that we just go with what we do. But if
I think that.
Yeah.
I would say that would give you like an advantage. So if Azure wants to make the roll, I don't know, probably with intelligence, and Cataract works as your advantage during the process. Don't know if Abe hears us.
Sorry, it's intelligence with advantage.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's D20, 12 under.
D20. 12 or under.
Okay. Oops. Nope.
Even with advantage, they're both bad.
Oh, what about advantage? Do I roll twice?
Yes,
Roll
you roll
twice. Take the better.
and you
Oh,
take the
good,
better
good, good.
result. So one was a 12,
Right.
14.
Yep.
Fingers crossed.
Oh, okay, good.
And the other one is a 9, so that is a success.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So the first moment in your new body is obviously a bit disconcerting. You're much lower than you're used to on the over the ground. You also see the world through laser eyes, which is a bit weird. I don't know. How does it feel the first couple of moments?
Very weird. I think if nothing else, there's just the like disconnect before like all the like thought process to inputs lines up. It's like
you also
like
have a tail.
Yeah, like I move my arms, and it's like I move my arms like I would have in my old body, and it's like no, that they're different.
One last thing before you were transferred. The fern, because everything took a bit longer than you had thought it would take. And the fern was very thorough in finding all the cameras and cleaning all of them.
What a good fern.
This is a very good fern. And so the last thing that you saw before you were transferred is a camera view that was lower than the other cameras. It was also somehow, an outside-facing camera that you saw a weird underground cavern with there was this silver polished mirrors, what looks like chandeliers or maybe disco balls or maybe a mixture of both. There was an organ. There was one staircase that led even deeper into the cave, and there was one room that read in a common magical testing site. And there were a couple of rats dressed in feathers, and they were dancing.
Okay.
Rats dressed in feathers. Dancing.
Yes, they were dressed not only in feathers. Let's see, where does it say it is? Just a second. They are dressed in feathers and foils.
Didn't you tell us, and it was either the last session or the session before, that the prairie dogs don't seem to care much for the rats because they'd never shut up?
Yes, they were very. They said, the prairie dogs, that they were super chatty.
Saffron, would you maybe like to talk to your prairie dog friends and see if any of them would like to go help us?
Oh yeah, it's actually when you when the new prairie dogs are assembled, obviously the others come out of their tunnels and they they do what dogs do, is like they run around you and they sniff, and maybe one of them licks your fur, and you hear all the voices saying, good dog, welcome.
I like touch my kind of fuzzy face a little bit, and I'm like, hi. This is awkward.
Hey, you're new here, I know. We will get along just fine.
I think you've met my friends.
Yeah, they're weird. They also have a cat.
Yeah, you probably don't get along.
Very annoying. And the others, like Azure and Nida, you just hear.
Fitting.
Does Saffron have the vocal cords to speak common?
Yes.
Oh, good.
with a growl a little bit, like the voice is obviously a little bit changed, but I think you can
Sweet.
adjust in the same way that you can adjust to the body.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think. I think I'm looking around at them and I'm like still kind of getting a feel for my body. I think the one question I want to try to ask them while they're like being so supportive is like, I'm curious whether, so they're like you're all like, you can talk.
Of course.
Are any of you like me?
Yeah, we're all the same. We're all equal.
Okay, sure, okay. I take that as a no. Okay. Well, my friends said to tell you that we would love to continue getting along well. And the same goes for the behemoth shell, the big giant mollusk thing to the north, east, west, that way.
Yeah, we know. They dig for bones, I think. And their eyes lighten up when they mention bones.
They have lots of bones.
Lots of tasty bones.
And lots of things that, you like bones, but also we brought you fuel that you needed. You might be able to keep doing that.
Keep doing what?
If you bring them stuff at the big shell, you might be able to negotiate for fuel so you don't run out. You don't have to wait for people like my friends to come.
They seem skeptical. They seem to be skeptical of the great folk in general. Why don't you make a persuade roll, which is probably charisma again?
Probably. I'm going
Could be
I'm going to
intelligence.
apply my vocation to this.
Okay, cool.
As a newly inhabiting a prairie dog, I'm going to channel my best prairie dog industrialist.
Yeah, of course.
And be like, I now kind of understand where you're coming from. But it's probably your only good way to get fuel. You don't, except for maybe scraps here and there if you dig. But you can find lots of bones. And while you like bones, you can get a better deal if you trade it for fuel. And so I'm going to attempt to see if this is enough to convince them of anything. Okay, that's a 1 in a 13. So
yeah, that is a success.
Yeah.
So you're definitely speaking to the other one with the double brain. And she says, yes, we could make it work.
Does that prairie dog have a name?
I'm terrible with names in general, but prairie dog names, geez. She has a name. I will look it up. Give me a second.
I'm just asking because it's a whole lot easier to type a name than double-brained prairie dog.
Let's give them
all numbers.
Prairie dogs come. I want to say let's go with. Oh, they don't have dog names on the fantasy names generator. That is very disappointing, I have to say.
How about something like Beatrice or Bex or Burrow, Bark?
Bark. She is called Ephra. Aphra. Ephra.
Fancy prairie dog name.
And yeah, she definitely sees the opportunity. Maybe not only fuel, but maybe they can repair the artifact. Maybe they can move away. Maybe they can build an army. Conquer
big plans, Afra. Big plans.
Yes. And we can't make it alone, but with the help of the great folk. Yes.
I like it. It's a certain eagerness, you know, you don't see often. Yeah.
Among dog folk. That is true.
Yeah, in general.
I gotta ask, is Afra's little prairie dog tail wagging furiously at this idea?
The funny thing is, unless Chris vetoes that, every time there's like a positive outcome of anything, unless you suppress it actively, your tail wags as well.
I think that is fair. I think Saffron was already planning to get a large robe to wear and essentially use, like, if Saffron can get enough control of their extensible legs, to pretend to just kind of be a short fuzzy person most of the time.
I mean, the hilarious bit would be 2 prairie dogs in coat on top of each other.
Yeah, or 3 just like stacked on top of each other. Yeah,
you know.
But totally that vibe of like totally not a prairie dog.
And I mean, yeah, with the extendable legs, you would exactly. And then the coat, the
trench coat, but just kind of like, you know, I'm used to wearing robes anyway with my previous body, and so it's like.
And just let's say, for the sake of usability, that you do have opposable thumbs, because otherwise you couldn't even hold a glass or anything.
The extensible limbs, they kind of make some, modifications.
I was going to say, so this is one of those things where the hands and the paws are not actual prairie dog paws; they're basically anthropomorphized robotic limbs with.
And Ajax has the same thing. Ajax has, human type hands instead of.
For a second there, I was picturing actual human hands on the ends of Ajax's limbs, and I'm like, that's kind of creepy.
Still furry. So my question was, when you froze, Chris, what are you doing? So there's the obvious possibilities to go deeper into the cave, or to go back to the behemoth shell and then be back on the road.
Yeah, I would have shared that last view of the magic testing site and the dancing rats and all of that with everyone. I think Saffron would be like, if it involves talking, I'm happy to keep going deeper. Otherwise, I maybe want to, keep how this whole body thing works.
That actually does bring up a good point. We now have somebody who looks like they belong there. That could be negotiating for us or trying to get us access into other parts of the facility or the complex. So what do you think, Abe?
I think PDJ, Prairie Dog Jesus.
Okay.
No. I think that's a good idea. Or maybe we ask them to come as an armed escort or something to help us, to help us, as guides and helpers.
I mean, you still have. No worries. You still have your normal henchmen.
Yeah, the entourage. We've got 5 left.
Well, just to get through, take us through, places of interest, stuff we can loot without effing with them. You know what I mean? Stuff they're not interested in that we might be interested, like more cases of loot,
biomancy gear, or
right, or even just more access to other autovacs. Maybe there's more punch cards.
I mean, do you ask them, Saffron?
I mean, if this is something that we've talked about, I think I don't know how much Saffron is actually up to speed on.
I think it's fair to say that I've been trying to catch you up on what's been going on.
Okay, and what your goals are.
Yeah, and we're not trying to be murder hobos or anything like that. Yeah. I mean, APOC wanted some of the biomancy gear. We're just looking at it what kind of interesting stuff can we recover from this facility?
Makes sense.
Does any of it benefit the community that we're in? Does any of it benefit the communities that we're heading to? But we also absolutely don't want to screw over any of the beings that are living here, except cannibal hamsters. They suck. Fuck them.
I mean, I think so I think the way Saffron would talk about this with the prairie dogs would be is there any asking them is there anything that they've places that they don't go, or things that they wish could get dealt with, and if we worked together we could go down and handle? Maybe that's the rats, or junk that they wish someone would haul out of here.
So they do say that they fear the hamsters, and to join you going deeper would require massive persuasion on your side. They do venture sometimes deeper into the caves to looking for fuel mainly, but they do try to avoid the room that the magical testing site, because they say that it makes them sick. Yes, from me as well. All right, so are you trying to convince the some of the prairie dogs to join you, or are you happy to go with your normal henchmen, so to speak? Or what is the plan?
I think it would be cool to convince some to at least guide us, or not necessarily like, oh, we've convinced them to sacrifice themselves for us.
Yeah.
More along the lines of like, hey, you know this place. Hey, we're trying to go down here. Hey, maybe you don't like these people, and we can do you a solid by killing some more carnivorous hamsters. And
so I'd say you could make a charisma check with advantage if they just are supposed to. You know, the advantage is first that you are one of them, and you don't want to persuade them to fight or anything, but just to scout.
Yeah, I think that sounds reasonable. Does that seem useful to?
Definitely seems useful to me.
Nida and Azure. Okay, let's see how that goes. Okay, that's a 3. So we get a success. Yeah, we get a few to come along.
Yeah, I think it's what was her name again? I didn't write it down.
Afra.
Afra. So Afra is joining you, and 2 of the laser eyes kitted ones. And they lead you through the first tunnel into the cave with the ferns, and then to the stairways, and there they stay there and they smell. They take a deep breath, trying to gather information about what is deeper down, and they look at each other and then look back at you and say, "It's just the rats for now." So what do you do? So it's like a concrete stair case that leads down with a metal handrail.
Well, I guess we can go down and try to talk to some rats.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Cool. So what is the marching order? I think one of the prairie dogs is in the front. Let's say Afra. And who's behind her?
I think I'm in the back, and I've got my sniper rifle out, or at least toward the back.
Okay.
Because I need the most range to be able to get that thing up. And I mean, luckily, with the exception of Azure, everybody in the party is pretty low, so I don't have to really worry as much about that.
I think it probably makes sense because Saffron's still on wobbly legs theoretically. That I'll follow up with my crossbow drawn.
You also have.
Do we have any? Yeah, I was going to say, do we have any of our henchmen with us?
No, we have what's his name, right? We have.
Yeah, Umberto is with you, but you can also you can take them all with you if you want.
Yeah. Leave one behind to watch all the supplies, 1 or 2.
So there's always Vigo, who's at the cars, and there was Aina, who was with the railgun that is now inside of the cave. The cave entrance, but you could move the railgun deeper if you wanted to. And then there's I-Tooth 10, I think. Twet is death. What's it called? I-Tooth Twet is dead. And then there's Katyusha. So you take them all with you?
Not Vigo, because we're leaving him with the vehicles. So is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
That seems like the best plan.
And then do we want to move the Gatling gun deeper into the cave, like down the stairs, so it's got kind of a field of fire across that hallway?
Yeah, I mean, are we expecting?
If we
For
run
now,
into
for now we're
we want as much firepower on them as we can get.
yeah. I don't know whether we're more worried about hamsters above us, more like in the various tunnels above us.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for now, what Afro is telling us is it's potentially just the rats below us. We don't know what's behind the magic testing site door, but
right. I think what makes sense to me is leaving Vigo with the vehicles,
Mhm.
leaving the town guard. Hang on a second, Aina, with the Gatling gun up top where it's already stationed, and then the rest of us, including Katyusha, trying to pillage this cave as quickly as we can and as quietly as we can, and getting out with as much as we can before we draw any unwanted attention. How does that sound?
Sounds good to me.
Chris, what do you think?
You're muted, Chris.
So have more hands so we can make one trip, grab as much as we can, and get out. Is the idea? Okay.
Well, and if it's relatively quiet and it seems secure, we can make a couple trips. But certainly, the idea is grab the really expensive the expensive-looking stuff as quickly as possible, get it out, and then maybe go back, depending.
Okay.
Okay. So on the top of the stairs, you can also hear like this organ music coming from deeper down.
Can you ask about that, Saffron?
I'd be sure. I think I like scamper up next to Afra, and I'm like, is that normal?
Mm-hmm. It is. They're playing music all the time. It's annoying as fuck.
Yeah.
And the music is it's some kind of baroque like spinet music, but then played on an organ.
Okay. Maybe we can get him to stop.
And last question before you go down, where's the Gatling gun positioned? So is it like closer to the staircase, or is it like at the mouth of the cave? Like inside
I thought we had it at the mouth of the cave.
Yeah. I thought so as well. So you don't move it deeper inside. Got it. Cool. You at the end of the staircase, the Afra stops and sniffs again the air. Let's see. Okay. And she hesitates a little bit to go deeper. From where you stand, you can see that it's a bit weird. So there's this. It is a ballroom. It's obviously it's covered in rat poop, and there's moss growing everywhere. There are these silver framed mirrors that are probably worth something as well. There's this weirdly shaped chandeliers with some kind of electricity that must have come from somewhere. There's this organ in one corner of the room where one of the rats sits and plays it. there is it called tinsel? This silver filaments.
Tinsel. Yeah.
Tinsel.
Yeah.
Hanging from the ceiling as well. And then there are these rats dressed in feathers, some of them dancing, some of them standing in small groups and just chatting. And two of them that are near you, they turn around and move over to you. Do you enter the room? Do you stay outside? What do you do?
I'd like to try to get Ajax to make a telepathic bridge, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we want to rely on Afra being able to talk to the rats.
Well, so you can hear the conversations, and they are talking in common. They have this ratty, weird, whistly voice, but it's completely understandable what they're saying. And the two that are approaching, one of them says, "Oh, well, hello there. I haven't seen you in a while." And they have this really posh, like Greenlander aristocracy accent.
I assume they're referring to
surface
people.
No, they're actually referring to the prairie dogs.
Oh, okay.
So to you as well.
Yeah, like we saw on a monitor that some stuff was going on down here, and we wanted to check it out.
Well, isn't that just beautiful? And one of the rats makes like a sweeping gesture. All this luxury. Please enjoy yourselves. I'm not sure what you're referring to as, how did you phrase it, a ruckus?
Yes.
But there's nothing to worry about, nothing to worry about.
Okay.
Can Ajax read their minds?
I don't think if they don't want to. Like the whole speaking in like through telepathy is what, like they can speak telepathically, they can't read if they don't sense, let's say.
Okay, I just wanted to ask. Do I notice anything unusual or potentially dangerous about the situation that we're in?
Let's make a roll. Let's make a wisdom roll.
Okay. And
so you're scanning.
I have that tagged with Yellowlander, just because of those survival instincts. So I roll with advantage.
Yes, you do.
Okay. All right. I'll just roll these tan ones right here. And that's 2 11s, so I missed on both.
Mm-hmm. So you don't see anything, but you realize that Afra is trembling a little bit and moving backwards.
I'm just gonna nudge Azure and Saffron and kind of gesture in the direction of Afra. And I'm going to start backing up along with her.
So, and there's also, I forgot to mention the door to, it says testing site above the door, and the door is definitely ornate, and maybe that's a question for Azure. So how do you know that there's something magical about the door or the place behind the door?
Let's see. Instead of it being metal, it's made of thick like oak,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got bands of brass or iron holding it all together with big studs. And instead of a doorknob, it's got a big metal hoop,
Mm-hmm.
that's bolted to the door. So it's totally basically cut and pasted from a fantasy role playing game door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess that maybe there's some kind of runes, like this metal
Yes,
band.
yeah. It's
Or,
like I was thinking the door, whatever it says in Lord of the Rings in Elvish, like that.
yeah. Speak, friend, and enter or something.
Yeah, but not friend.
Yeah, neither you communicate with body language and nods and so forth that something is wrong. So what do you do?
I think at this point it's back up a little bit and be extra aware to make sure that our route back up is unobstructed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like if anything moves to try to like cut us off.
I'm gonna hand Saffron a couple of grenades.
Mm-hmm.
Just like kind of mimic how to pull the pin.
Mm-hmm. Chris, I have a great idea about your second group, and you could put it in wisdom, and that would represent your new senses, because obviously you have now smell, like superior smell, and hearing. Just a suggestion.
It's a good idea.
So you check the back, I guess. You check that you will be able to get out of the room. And at that point, I think you see it's a little bit as if you look at the surface of a lake and that there's like a shark moving through the lake. So the group of there's like movement where the rats move aside, away from something that comes from the other side of the room, the stairways that would go even deeper. What do you do?
Shall we grenade the shark? Will that advance the ceiling clock?
It would definitely kill a lot of innocent rats.
I want to look through my
okay.
scope on my rifle.
Cool.
So what do I see?
Yeah, the room is, I think, big enough for the scope to actually make sense. And because you are a sniper by profession, you can follow the movement of the whatever it is through the rest. You can see that it's like three individuals, and these are these bloated figures that move slowly through the dancing rats.
Okay, and what kind of figures are they? Are they? You said sharks. Are they moving like sharks? Or are they actually?
No. That was a metaphor. Maybe it was ill phrased. It's actually humanoid dead people. They have this bluish flesh, and they are bloated as if if somebody pumped air into them.
Okay. Are these the same things that we know that Azure and Ajax killed earlier?
Yes. You know that they explode when killed.
And they splatter goo on everything.
Mm-hmm. But they're moving relatively slow, so you would assume that you might be able to reach the door before them.
The magical door, or the door to the magical waste, or the door?
Yeah, the magical door. You could leave the room without interacting with them in any case.
I kind of nudge Azure and look toward the door like, do you want to get out of here, or do you want to take these goons out?
How outnumbered? Are we outnumbered big time?
You're not outnumbered. They are outnumbered.
You said there's 3 of them?
Yes, just 3 of them, and they're moving relatively slowly. They're
And
difficult.
then the rats also.
They had like, what, 6 or 7 hit points or something like that the last time?
Something like that. They don't seem to have like some kind of, thick skin or something.
How many brownie points will we win with the prairie dogs if we keep going? I guess that's,
do the prairie dogs
really
want
the
these?
question.
Yeah,
Like,
do the prairie dogs want these things out, taken out?
I mean, I think they wouldn't mind if the rats were gone, but if the rats become pissed off and start a war with them, that's probably worse than organ detente.
Well, that's why I'm asking about these bloated figures. Do they want those things gone?
Oh.
Yeah. They don't really they don't really bother the prairie dogs. It's just that they are associated with the hamsters. So maybe Ephra says, when these dead people come, the hamsters follow. So the last time it was like they sended them as some kind of distraction and then jumped on you.
Oh, well, in that case,
Gotcha.
I don't know if we have a choice whether or not to fight in a few minutes.
Then we should make the choice to start backing up and get to a more strategically advantageous position now.
Yeah,
sounds good.
Like, let's try to get close to the Gatling guns, and the reason we left the Gatling cannon outside is because the hamsters don't like to go into the light. So we can, we've got a clear line of fire into the cave or into the vault, and they won't attack the Gatling gun because it's outside.
Well, I think we have established that you moved the Gatling gun inside of the cave. I mean, you can retroactively say that this is not the case, that it's still outside pointing in. But the way we described it was that you put it from outside of the cave, like looking into, after the tunnel and then looking into the cave. Because the way it is, like there's this tunnel leading into the cave, then there's the cave, and then there's the staircase down. And so you can either have the Gatling gun outside looking into where the vault door is, or you can have it inside and then being able to shoot into the whole cave. That's the 2 options you have.
Okay. What do you 2 think?
Well, there's no guarantee that they're gonna follow us up to the ambush. So maybe we should bring the gun down and just start cleaning house.
That's going to basically mean that we have to kill every single rat in the cave, though.
Well.
Yeah, what kind of adventurers are you? Are you we kill all intelligent creatures, even if they are just rats, or although they're just rats?
Well, I think I've demonstrated what kind I am. I mean, I want to help the prairie dogs out, but I also don't like those cannibal hamsters.
That is
so. I also don't like any kind of. I don't want to just chuck grenades in indiscriminately because we're going to harm creatures that are doing absolutely nothing to us.
Yep.
And they appear to be. I don't know if they can do calculus, but they can. They're being polite, so I mean, manners counts.
So
Yeah,
you're
no, I
moving
don't
up.
think that we should like snuff them all. Definitely.
Okay. So my question was, where is the Gatling gun at this moment in time? Whether or not you move it downstairs is another question.
Do we have line of sight on the staircase that leads up?
When you're inside the cave, you have. When you're outside of the cave, you have not.
Okay, but where we are now with the ballroom, do we see that staircase that
goes further?
Azure and Ajax went down to scout when they found that original blue bloated creature?
Yes. So,
so we can basically kite something up the stairs from the door of the ballroom and get it into the field of fire with the Gatling cannon.
Say it again. So, what is the plan?
If we see like cannibal hamsters coming, we can kind of ping them, like, shoot a few rounds at them, retreat up the staircase, and as they come up the staircase, that'll put them in the line of fire of the Gatling cannon.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. What do you two think about that idea? Because that allows them to drag us into a place we know is clear. We can get the ferns out of the way. You can set up a clear field of fire.
That's good.
Probably our best. It's probably our best.
Although I'm all about bringing to the end of the world. I don't want to do it rat by rat. I want a big bang. So I'm all for saving them.
I love this. It's like, I have survivor's guilt because I killed my friend. Oh, I managed to put my friend back in a robotic prairie dog body. Let's go back to destroying the world now.
Well, I get points per if my body count is higher. Like the higher the body count, the more brownie points I get in the afterlife.
It's the cult of the blue god. What can you do? Anyway, so you is it the plan that you now move upstairs, or do you wait to get some pot shots on the zombies and then move upstairs? What is the plan?
Well, what kind of weapons does Saffron have at this point?
Laser eyes and 3 grenades.
3 grenades.
Okay. You
That
actually
is the grand total of my equipment.
You don't have your laser eyes on your sheet.
I should add laser eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also
go ahead.
Check you could theoretically check the door out, see what's behind it, and if it's not to your liking, and you're really quick about it, you could leave the whole thing without even interacting with the zombies, unless the hamsters are like right behind them, which is a technique that they deployed before.
Yeah, Azure, you have the highest dex of us, so.
Shall I roll?
I mean, I think at this point, Saffron should probably be headed toward the staircase.
Okay.
Because there's very little that they're going to be able to do in this situation. Yeah. I think, and I'll keep, I'll basically do Overwatch from the ballroom door. If you want to push forward and check things out and see if we want to go any farther.
Yeah, I think Ephra and the other 2 prairie dogs join you, Saffron.
I think getting the prairie dogs up and then like giving the heads up to all the prairie dogs of like, hey, some of these bloated zombies and carnivorous hamsters may be coming through, like, go hide, set up barriers or whatever, lock the doors.
And please do try to get the sessile ferns out of the way. I like them. They're cute.
Yeah. And so Azure, what is Azure doing? Do you check out the door, or do you wait with Nida and the other henchmen?
I'll take point. I'll check out the door.
Cool. All right. So in front of the door, now you can, you know, the smell in the ballroom is not the best. It smells like, you know, rat poo and piss a little bit. But in front of the magic door, you can sense that maybe you're like the hair on your arms stand up a little bit, as if there's some kind of static in the air.
Right.
And you do smell some kind of chemical smell from behind the door. The door seems to be, you know, you don't see any kind of keyhole or something. There's just this wheel, or what the ring, I think you described it, that you can use to pull open the door.
Yeah.
From the you know, from the corner of your eye, you can see that one of the bloated zombies is approaching, but won't reach you for another round.
Well, I think I should probably handle the bloated zombie before I open up a potential another can of worms. So I've got my crossbow. I'm going to take a shot.
Okay, cool. And I think because the zombie is out of reach, we don't even have to use initiative or anything. You get the first round for free. So
right.
make your attack roll. It's under your AV.
Under my AV. Hold on a second.
Which is 10, I just saw.
Oh. Yep. Got it. Roll a 7.
Nice. So you shoot, roll your damage, and because the
D10, right?
Crossbow, is it like a heavy crossbow?
Yes, I believe so.
Yep, D10.
All right, one moment, please. 1. That sucks.
So because your crossbow is, yeah, that's the weird thing about damage rolls. Yeah, I think somehow it's like a bolt coming out of the crossbow, obviously, and it lodges itself somewhere in the shoulder of the zombie, who staggers back a little bit and bumps into the dancing rats, who then stop, and then it's moving out towards the organ player, and the organ player also stops playing. But obviously you didn't kill it. So just for fun, let's
So
have
now it's going after the rats?
No. It just bumped into the rats, and now it staggers forward and can definitely theoretically reach you. Although I think that neither theoretically can shoot before.
Yeah, because I mean, like the second I see Azure letting loose, it's like, okay, it's go time. Now I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there any way, if I add, for example, Legion, because I've got a group saved up for my last level up that I haven't added yet. If I add that group to my strength, does that mean I can roll attack value with advantage, or is there any way to roll attack value with advantage?
Not really. Attack value is not one of these. Like you can only write groups next to the attributes.
Right. I was looking at it going across, and it's like with Dex, you know, there's a group there, and then there's movement next to Dex, and there's the saving throw next to Con. So I was wondering if AV had something similar to do with strength.
No. That is, you know, it's the way I put together the character sheet.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm definitely going to take a pot shot at the whatchamacallit, at the bloated corpse, and I'll just go ahead and re-roll this one. That is a 6. So that my AV is 11, so that's a hit. And then roll D8 for damage. there's the D8. That's a 2.
And that is definitely enough. So, where do you want to hit the corpse?
Headshot.
The classic. It's a zombie. What? The question was even stupid. So,
Well, and the
obviously,
other part of it is we know that these things blow up and spread goop everywhere, depending on where you hit them.
yes,
So
that is.
maybe the head doesn't do that.
And that is the perfect reasoning, because normally the last couple of hits you had was always in the body, where it then exploded. But with a headshot, it just crumbles into a pile of bones and flesh. Upstairs, Saffron.
You've got to hear the sound of the sniper rifle.
Yeah, you hear the sound of the sniper rifle like ringing. You can also hear Ephra, and she says, "Run!" And then she runs towards the tunnel. What do you do?
Which tunnel?
The tunnel that leads into the artifact. So there's this cavern, staircase.
Be careful with that tunnel. There's 2 ticks on a 4-tick clock for it to collapse. Your best bet is running toward the Gatling gun and getting behind it.
I think I pause to like make sure that they get in okay.
Nice.
But I don't follow.
Cool. What do you do instead of following them?
I'm gonna be listening for the trying to piece together exactly what is happening downstairs.
And I think we can see your ears moving the way that only dogs and obviously cats and other creatures. Make a wisdom check.
Sure.
To see
I did take your idea of applying my group there.
So that gives you advantage.
Do any of the NPCs we have with us have ranged weapons? We gave them muskets, didn't we?
So Katyusha has a bolter. And 10 has Ven. There's another one, by the way. Ven has a musket, and the other one, 10, has a spear. Cool. So you can. It is obviously you hear the sniper shot, and then you can hear what only a prairie dog could hear, which is a creature moving towards the Gatling gun from somewhere from the side of the cave, moving slowly and quietly. You cannot see them, but you can hear them, and you do have the the ability to either warn Aina at the Gatling gun or maybe try to intersect them.
Do I? Okay, so I'm trying to picture relative positioning of I know Gatling gun, but it just for actually, let me just propose my idea.
Okay,
and you can tell me whether the positioning makes it not work out. That's maybe easier. My idea is to blast the general area, not necessarily trying to hit the thing, but somewhere close to the thing with my laser eyes.
Nice. Yeah, definitely.
Partially because this might, 1, illuminate it, and 2, draw attention to it from the people guarding at the Gatling gunning, guarding the entrance.
Yeah. And so I would say that's not even. Is it an attack roll?
I guess I could try to hit to see if I get a hit in.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say because you can locate them with your ears. You can theoretically hit them, and even if it's a miss, it will be the general direction unless it's.
And it'll draw the right kind of attention to it. Okay, that sounds good to me.
Cool.
Would a grenade do the same thing?
Yeah, well, then you would throw the grenade in the direction of Ida and the Gatling gun.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the less collateral damage, less make everything fall apart way of doing this, I think. All right. That's 7 under my 10 AV.
Oh, wow. Cool. So you actually do hit. So let's see. So roll your damage, and you can actually see now, because there's a cry, like a muffled scream, and like burning fur, and you can see one of these hamsters rising from the fur.
I just got 1 damage, but hopefully it's like has a little fire burning on its shoulder or something, and it's lit up for the Gatling gun.
We've got no luck.
It's definitely, it's now in the range of the Gatling when it's on the side. So I need a swivels around.
And maybe just distracted it for a little bit.
That's a good question. Does Saffron's laser eyes have any kind of damage over time effect, like from burning or something?
Not really. That, like the flamethrower, definitely.
Yeah.
Like the flamethrower will light things on fire, and then they will burn and do D6 damage every round. With a laser, I don't think.
I think cauterizes too fast.
Yeah. So I roll for Aida. She is a level 3, so that is 13. I use this. Reroll selected. And this is a critical success. Wow. And the Gatling gun did something like insane. 2d12 or something, 3d12. It's in like an insane damage. Let's see, it's on the caravan, I think. I think it's 2d12.
I also thought we had the damage on there, but it doesn't look like we do.
Doesn't say.
In the notes, it says 2d12.
Oh yeah, cool, nice.
In our session notes.
So let's do 2d12. Submit. And that is 7 on top of your... Oh, hold on. She had a critical success as well. So let's double this. It's 14. It's 15. And he's still standing. So it's he's shaking in the fire, being shaken by the bullets. And then drops to his knees and try to rush Aina, sorry. So let's go back downstairs where we need to see who acts first.
Is it fair for the NPCs to have opened fire at the same time that I did on the bloated zombies?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So I have a sneaking suspicion that the one with the spear probably didn't do anything since it's across the room, but I think
it's too far.
Katyusha opened up with the bolter and the other great folk opened up with the musket.
Yeah, Ven. Do you want to roll for them? They are all... Katyusha is level 2, so that makes it AV of 12, and Ven has an attack value of 11.
Okay. I can do that. So... that is a 14 for Katyusha.
That's not good.
And a 13 for Ven.
They both miss. And Azure, do you want to roll a d6 to see who acts first, you or the... Oh no, the zombie is obviously dead. What do you do?
Oh, so it's obviously dead.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a look
From the
around,
headshot.
see if there's any more threats coming, and if not, I'm going to one-handed.
We heard the Gatling gun going off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know there's trouble upstairs.
Yes, there's trouble upstairs. You could still take a peek, obviously.
Yeah, so I'll take a peek.
Yeah, what you do see is that there's the other two zombies but they are further away from the door, and they move in the general direction of the staircase. You don't see anything else threatening, but that could be that it is hidden. But
is this ceiling on the verge of collapse as well?
no, this ceiling is not on the verge of collapsing.
Okay,
It's also a relatively high.
What's that?
It's a relatively high ceiling, just to picture it.
All right, so I pull out a grenade, pull the pin, open the door.
You're going to kill the rats.
No, he's opening the door.
Oh,
no, we don't know. So you're opening the door.
Oh, we don't know what's in there except I don't see anything else but the zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, fuck. All right, well, in that case, I'll retreat and we'll go up to the where the Gatling gun is and see if we can help. Or I will.
Can I use Ajax's special to run upstairs and try to sedate whatever the hell is at the gun?
Yes, he would. It takes like 2 rounds to get there to get
travel plus attack.
Yeah, but Abe, I don't know if you get the whole picture. So the situation you are in at the moment is you're in the ballroom. You're in front of this magical door. There's a dead zombie in front of you. They are scared. Rats who stop dancing and now move, to move away from the center of the ballroom, exposing these 2 slow-walking zombies that move into the direction of the staircase. And then there's the other staircase that leads deeper. And your decision, if I heard it correctly, was to unpin the grenade, open the magical door to see what's behind it. Is that true?
Well, Puckett brought up we don't know if there's more rats in there.
That is true.
So, I thought it'd probably be better just to fall back for now and then help secure the Gatling gun area. And then we can all come down here or whatever and then see what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be happy to go back up and help to try to, investigate what the Gatling gun stuff's all about.
Okay. So you move back to the staircase, and I think that that the henchman that's standing there, Katyusha, and Ten and Van cover your retreat, and neither you're moving upstairs. You're staying where you are.
I'm moving upstairs.
You're moving upstairs. Okay. And you're sending Ajax ahead of you. Okay, so let's go back to the cave. It's the next round, and let's see who acts first. Let's roll a d6, Chris and me.
All right.
I want to roll high. I got a 2.
I got a 6.
So you and all the other PCs and NPCs on your side act first. So what do you do? The hamster tries to duck down back between the ferns, but you act first.
Let's think. I think I will Yeah, that was actually what I was thinking. Is it was like, oh wait, yeah, Nida told me to get the ferns out of here, and so I think I shout out to the ferns to scatter, and while they're scattering, I think I try to look around and listen around to see if there's any other hamsters. Because this one kind of snuck up on us.
Yeah.
Just to like the lay of the land,
Yeah.
what's around.
So in Whitehack, you can do like 3 things during a round. It's moving, attacking, and smaller things. Like you could, for example, I don't know, drop a weapon, move into a direction, and then shoot or something. So
if I can also get a laser eye shot off, I'll do that.
Yeah, I don't think you can. So if you concentrate off trying to convince the fern is a small action, I think. But you're trying to get information about the other hamsters is probably a bigger action. So these two things. I mean, you're not you're a prairie dog. So I don't give you a disadvantage but they don't know you in the way they know Nida. So it's just a normal charisma roll because they're frozen in place. There's like scared and they don't move, and they hope that if they don't move, the hamster will do nothing bad to them.
Yeah. It's the convincing them, hey, don't get shot by the Gatling gun. The bigger threat is the mechanical gun. Okay, yeah, a normal charisma check sounds fine for that. Wait, what happened?
I think it's an 11.
That's an 11. Yeah, so 11 is a fail.
And then you can also try to listen or to smell if there are more hamsters coming.
Yeah. Of like getting better situational awareness around like I spotted that one, and now I kind of want to proactively. So just a wisdom.
Yes, with advantage.
With advantage. Okay. Let me clear out that one. Roll 2. 4. So that's a success.
Wow. So you can actually see the tunnel that the hamster emerged from, which is like a really small, tiny crack in the rock, which is too small for a human to get in. Maybe you could get in. And you do see like 2 claws emerging, and one of the hamsters emerging from the crack.
All right. Well,
and you can smell that there is like that place smells like badly, like old blood and wet hamster fur.
Well, I know what I'm doing next round.
Awesome. So I think by the time now, Nida has reached the top of the stairs. Ajax is beside you, Saffron, and Azure reached the bottom of the stairs. So let's start with Azure. What do you want to do?
Sorry, I was muted. I guess I'll tell the 2 guys down here to keep an eye out. You know, keep the perimeter secure, and then run up to the top of the stairs to see what the deal is.
Okay. And Nida, what are you doing?
First thing that I'm doing is yelling at the ferns to move.
Which,
now that I'm there, they should do.
Yes. Well, they're more likely to listen to you. Let's put it that way.
I mean, especially I want that little. I want the friendly little one that I'm now friends with to move, because I mean, if the rest of them don't move, that's really sad for them, but I would actually feel bad if the little one didn't move. And I see. Do I see the hamsters coming out of the crack, or
I don't think so.
do I see the hamster that the Gatling gun lit up?
I think you can see because the part of the fur is still burning. Yeah, you can see that one. That is next to the Gatling gun, ready to jump.
So I'm going to take a shot at that one, and tell Ajax to watch for any others coming out, unless Saffron has yelled that there's one coming out of the crack.
Hold on a second. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Hold
on. I think here, if Ajax like came up to me and was like telepathically pinged me like, "Hey, what's up?" I would have telepathically gestured at this little mini tunnel that they're coming out of. So I think it's reasonable that Ajax might already be aware.
And this is the.
Go ahead.
I hate to seem like I'm fixated on grenades, but
that is my plan. That is my plan.
Well, with that tiny little cave, with that tiny little, with that tiny little hamster tunnel, I absolutely want to throw grenades in that sumbitch.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Slap them.
I just was out of actions for the round, so as soon as I'm up, one will out of my whatever pocket.
I was going to say, do you think it's reasonable at this point for you to have yelled that there is one there's one coming into the room and like point toward the tunnel, or
maybe.
Okay, we'll see when Horse gets back.
Yeah. The exact timing, like of what is happening. Like, we're all doing this kind of simultaneously, maybe.
Yeah.
And then like after you've all done your stuff, then everyone knows. So it might be a next round thing.
I just hope the ferns move. I like the ferns. They're cute.
Or at least hopefully they move out of the way before I throw a grenade in their direction. Right.
I don't like killing things that don't need to be killed. You know, that's part of the whole thing with the Legion of the Farsight.
Yeah.
Kill what needs to be killed. Don't kill what doesn't need to be killed. You know, they tend to frown on things like that. Like, you know, some things you just got to deal with, like the Redlander bandits. Some things you don't have to deal with. You know, like Cecil ferns.
Pretty reasonable philosophy for an OSR game.
Right? Avoid as much combat as possible. God, I was so proud of my kid. She was in a Cyberpunk 2020 game, and they were heading into this massive fight, totally overwhelmed. And she said, basically, "Hey, can I just like talk to them first and see if we can work anything out?" Nailed a persuade roll. Completely sidestepped this epic fight that the GM had planned, and the GM was just kind of like, well, I guess you don't have to fight him now, and I guess that's the game. So good going.
Yeah. So, Horst, we were discussing whether or not Saffron would have had time to yell out about the tunnel that the hamsters are coming out of.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So then, Nida, when you take your action,
then I'm yelling at Ajax to basically use I'm going to use that special attack Ajax has on the hamster that's emerging from the crack, the tunnel, and I'm going to take a shot at the hamster that has been hit by Saffron and the Gatling gun.
Cool.
And also, so you said we can do three things, like an attack, a small action, and movement, correct?
Yes.
I'm going to clear the staircase so I'm not blocking it, and then set up.
Just moving aside. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm getting out of the way, so I'm not clogging the staircase. I'm not creating a kill box there. So I'm clearing the staircase, shooting at the hamster that's on the ground, telling Ajax, Ajax, that hamster's a sumbitch. Get it. More fish for you. Promise.
Cool. All right. Make your attack roll on the hamster next to the Gatling gun.
Okay. And that is a 6. So
that is a hit.
Let me roll 1d8 for damage. That's 5.
5 is what you actually needed. So the plasma bullet hits the hamster.
Headshot.
Another headshot disintegrates the head. And the Aina ducks under the goo that is spraying all over the gun. And don't think that you have to, because it's a special ability of Ajax. You don't have to roll. So it's when the hamster is emerging, unaware of Ajax, he almost leisurely swipes the poisoned tail, at his flesh and fur, and the hamster is startled for a second and then falls down unconsciously. But Saffron, you can also see that there are like at least another one. Not see, probably smell more than see that there's another one behind that one that is now half blocking the crack, though. So the next one would have to climb over it.
We were also wondering how many ticks on the clock would it take to collapse the tunnel when we're using grenades?
One grenade is 1 tick, I would say.
How many ticks does the tunnel have? 4?
In total, the clock has 4.
Okay.
We're down to 2, though.
Well, is this coming from the tunnel to the autofac? Or is this coming from the...
Oh, no. The hamster's actually on the other side. But still, it's the same level.
Like a crack. So we were wondering how many ticks that crack that the hamsters are coming from has. Coming in.
Oh, I understand. I don't know. Like for a demolition expert, it would be probably just 1 throw. I guess, like a critical success on 1 or 2 successes, I guess.
Or we might just block it with enough bodies to kind of mostly stop them.
And I think that Aina at this point had turned the Gatling gun around and is also aiming at the crack. So what is Saffron doing?
I'm going to lob a grenade in there. Because I have them, so I have to use them.
Yes, actually, we have to roll another D6 to see who acts first. And, it's always PCs.
Did Azure get their turn to act already?
Yeah, Azure, I would assume that Azure now reaches the top of the stairs.
Okay.
So let's see, D6. I got another 2.
That's another 6.
Wow. So you act first. You lob the grenade inside of the. You try to actually hit the crack, I guess.
Yeah, it's like I think I'm trying to There's the one in front that's slumped down, and I'm trying to just roll it over, just behind it or on top of it, kind of.
Nice. Yeah, I think
there's the other one scrambling.
Yeah, even if you don't hit, I take the what's it called? Like the collapsing tunnel clock. But if you hit, you definitely do damage to the hamster behind it, and Ajax is definitely jumping to the side.
Good. I think I can communicate. Yeah, I think I can communicate to Ajax of hey, grenade going in. Look out. Okay. That's a 12, which is not a hit.
Yeah, so I make it's quicker. I make a clock here. Collapse of the tunnel. The other tunnel, obviously, of the crack. And then Azure and Nida, what are you doing? You know, from where you stand, you can't really see what is inside the crack, though.
Well, that's the great thing about grenades. You just have to throw them in the general direction of whatever.
That is true.
So, Azure, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Well, I think in the marching order, you're closer. So, like, you know, you got out of the way and not to obstruct the stairwell. So I think you're probably, like, I'm coming up, looking around, going, hey, what's going on, you know? So go
Okay.
for it.
So, can I chuck 2 grenades? Okay.
Theoretically, like, tie them together or something. But
I was thinking like right and left hand, like, you know, pull the grenades off of like, you know, the bandolier, you know, pull the pins with my teeth, like, you know, and then just like chuck both, like lob both of them at the.
I would say with disadvantage you could. Because one of your arms would be, you know, I assume that most people have one dominant.
You know,
hand.
honestly, I'm actually just going to argue against what I just suggested, because if I still have the sniper rifle in one hand, there's no way that I can do that unless I drop the rifle.
You drop the rifle in any case, I guess, or you sling it over one shoulder.
I mean, I could, in theory, like put it in my left hand and pull the pin with my teeth and chuck
one grenade. Yeah, that's true.
But there's no way to do it with 2. There's no way to do 2 grenades without dropping the rifle.
That's true.
So my next question. You said demolitions expert could throw grenades with advantage, correct?
Would only need 1 grenade to actually collapse the tunnel, because they know what they're doing. Like, they know where to throw it in order to destabilize it maximally.
Do you think that would be an intelligence roll or a strength roll? I do have 1 group that I can assign, and, you know, maybe it's something that I picked up as a yellow lander. Maybe it's something I picked up in travels. I don't think it's Legion of the Farsight, because they're about precision, not area of effect damage.
It would probably be intelligence, knowing where is the weak spot.
Okay. And would I need to specifically say demolitions expert, or would it be part of another group that I could use?
Yeah, it would be. I mean, you would have to tell me, obviously, how that applies. Like, if you say, you know, the Legion of the Farsight does have like a special commando that is deployed to blow up enemy.
You know, it may be like the last ditch effort of the Legion of the Farsight on exfiltration. It's like, once you've taken out the target, if things get really hairy, you just lay waste to everything around you, because you getting clear of it is more important. Does that seem reasonable?
It does sound reasonable. The thing is, I mean, the Deft has the ability that their vocation is valid for all the roles. So you don't have to write your vocation next to a stat. It applies to all of them.
So I don't even need to have Legion of the Farsight next to Dex.
If Legion, Legion of the Farsight is your affiliation. We don't really have, like, I mean, you've written down as your
the vocation survivor.
Is survivor.
Okay.
And I do have a hard time seeing that in order to being able to survive, like, fleeing from the Yellow Lands had you blowing up things.
Yeah.
I mean, you can change your vocation, obviously, to something more, fitting. But for now, I would say it is probably just a normal role.
Okay. Yeah,
What do you think?
we can sort all that out later, I guess.
Mhm.
Because I was just thinking about it, like, what would make sense, and maybe it's the case that there is some sort of exfil training that goes on with Legion of the Farsight, where
Yeah,
when everything goes pear-shaped, just blow everything up, do damage, get out.
Yeah.
Let's do a normal roll this time. So that's a normal attack roll, correct?
Yes.
That is a 10, and my
And
attack value is 11.
Is a success. So you actually do hit. The grenade goes inside the crack, and then you hear this like horrible bone crushing sound, and also yelps of pain from whatever's inside. So do your damage, please.
For damage.
Yes, please.
That's 14.
That's not too bad. I can't calculate for shit. Okay, I know. All right, so it's 9:30. So we are actually, the session is already over. But I would like to end with the following cliffhanger, which is Azure. You hear from downstairs Katyusha screaming, "They're coming!" And that is where we need to cut to the end credits.